Hey tubes, what's up y'all? We are heading to Spokane Valley Archery today. We're gonna hang out with Josh and talk about lighted nocks. I've been running nocturnals here and there. He's talking about halos, want to look at some options and look at some different arrows that we haven't talked about on the channel before and some newer stuff coming out and some components. I think it'll be a good overall tinkering video. Next time you see me, I gotta run a few errands and then we'll go to Spokane Valley Archery and connect with MFJJ and drop some knowledge on different arrows, components, and lighted nocks. Let's go. Like I promised, we're at Josh's man cave. We got some things to do. We're looking at a couple different arrows for 2024. We want to show you guys those and the components and possibly compare them, cut them, weigh them, look at the components, strength, weaknesses, pros, cons. And lastly, let's talk about lighted nocks, because I like lighted nocks for seeing the arrow in flight, and Josh has got a strong opinion and you guys do too, and we're gonna go through that right now. Let's go. All right, so we got Easton X10s. We're gonna cut it, we're gonna put a component on it, we're gonna weigh it and compare it to Ultra Centrum Limiteds. We got some components that come with them.
Let's take a look at those.
We got some day 6 with some day 6 components. I guess they don't make pro comps anymore, but I got my last dozen pro comps. So we're gonna run down to the shop, cut some arrows, we'll come back, we'll glue, we'll weigh, and I wanna look at some different component systems for you guys. Was today years old when I found out that Josh has 30 grain titanium half outs that work with his collar. I've been using his 30 grain half out on one of my setups. I didn't know a collar fit, so we're gonna go over that. That's gonna be a great option for you 5mm homies. Let's go. The shop's how far from here?
150 yards.
Okay, 150 yards.
Yeah.
Hey Josh, what's over here?
A mess.
This is where Josh edits.
Disaster.
Yes, he knows how to edit. Double screens. That's elk blood.
Yeah, that's the arrow I shot that elk with, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the full enchilada 3-blade. Got some hair on it still. Still got blood on it.
Sabers, supers.
And 300 spine Rip XVs, titanium inserts. We should weigh this. I know it was around 400 grains.
30-inch draw. So you do a podcast with Tim Connor. Is it your podcast or his?
It's ours.
Oh, that's cute.
It's
and is this where you guys do it?
Yep.
It's really organized and dialed right now.
Yeah, he said, this is the worst looking place I've ever seen. I'm going to show it to the world. So that's grains. Hang on. Mode 401.9.
You dirty dog, you should have gone to 399 just to be able to say.
Right? Yeah,
and then
right?
this is that practice fatal steel that comes with it,
Yeah,
right?
they come with, and it's actually the same on most of the broadheads. That's their practice one. That's what I shot the whitetail with in Minnesota, and the blade's bent. So I got real hesitant to use that again. But this opens just like a Schwacker does, right?
Oh, that's from...
yeah, this is Slick Trick.
Slick Tricks.
Yeah, it works just like a Schwacker, where this is what opens it, and it's supposed to open internally. But this actually opened before it got through the ribs, because I had marks on both ribs on both sides.
You got pass through?
So, oh yeah, full pass through. That wasn't a concern at all, and it's reinforced my philosophy of why I keep pushing back into something like this. Is when you shoot through something with that hole, as the animal runs, the hide and the hole move, right? Because the hide's not attached to the inner body. It's like loose. There's like a fat layer right in there, right? And so if you have a hole that looks like this and it moves like that, there's nowhere for the blood to come out. But if you have a 3-blade hole, they can move a pretty good amount around each other and they still line up. So that's part of why I believe this traditionally gives you a much better blood trail than like this. This will put a bigger hole in something, but if the tissue moves at all, you're going to have a harder time finding blood, which is why you see that with 2-blade broadheads, I believe. But hey, what do I know? Most of the stuff in here is my dad's, actually. When he passed away, I got all his mounts and whatnot, and everything on this wall are all deer he shot in his life. He took a trip to Alaska and shot a caribou. He was there for like a month almost. Those are his 3 bull elk he's killed in his life. He didn't ever kill a lot of elk. He went to Africa once, so there's a leopard and a baboon, a couple of diker, I believe they call that little thing. At one point, that little guy right there was actually the world record with a bow. Impala, shot that in Hawaii when I was in middle school. That's a kimono dragon. That mule deer is my mule deer, actually.
Yeah,
that's the nicest whitetail I've ever killed. My dad's killed a couple bigger than that.
Got some little extras too.
He's got a little bit of funk. I gross scored that at 154 3/4.
Yeah, he's over 150 all day.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a decent buck.
That's an early season deer.
Oh yeah, it was like September 6th or something like that. It was early, and those are all young stuff from my dad.
Hey, go weigh that nocturnal and halo for me.
Boop, boop, okay. Oh yeah, that falls out. Boop, stay on there. 24, 23.8, 21.3. 2.5, 3 grains?
Yeah, no, that matters.
Yeah, and then the G-Nock version of this is smaller because there's less mass in here,
Right.
there's less mass in there. I want to say they're like 18.
So to order the 4mm in the Halo, you got to order a specific.
It's called Micro.
Micro. Okay, got it.
So when you click and look at the link for the Halos or the sale ticket, there's a multi-fit and a micro. Micros for 1/66 size arrows or G-Nock size.
How do you prevent from getting ripped off made in China stuff that's not actual?
Well, so Halo has actually gone through with like Amazon and proved their ownership of this product, so nobody can actually list these other than them.
Okay.
So the only ones that you will find on Amazon are from them. Period.
What about Nocturnals though?
Nocturnal has gotten a lot better about this, but honestly, the best way to buy a Nocturnal Nock is to make sure you're buying from an American distributor. Me, Black Ovis, Lancaster, Mike's Archery. There's 20 of them in the country or so. Cabela's, Bass Pro, Shields. That you can buy. You can feel safe buying it off Amazon because they're the only seller. Like you won't find these for sale that aren't from them, and they're the ones selling it to you directly, or buy it from a United States-based distributor.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
People on YouTube ask all the time, where's Jake Webb? So I'm filming right now. Where is Jake Webb?
I'm working. Trying to make money.
Trying to make that money? Were you just in Canada with your girlfriend?
Possibly.
How was it?
It was really good. The food wasn't that great, but it's a cool place.
Hey, Jake, this is Josh. I heard you moved really close to me. Did I hear that correctly?
I moved probably 5 minutes from you.
Where are you at?
Right off the 32nd.
Cool deal. I'll have to figure that out after. Well, 30 seconds, a big long street.
30 seconds. He's on 30
townhouses. So like if you're gonna go to Safeway.
Don't say it now.
You're on video. You're on video.
Dude.
Well, after the call.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, just tell the viewers that you say what's up.
Hey, everybody, what's going on?
There you go, Jake Webb.
That's me.
So what we're doing right now is trying to figure out how long the overlap is on all these adapters, because every arrow has a different adapter, and it's not like a uniform thing for how much covers the end of the arrow. When you're starting to deal with 1/66 arrows, you'll find this on almost everything you touch. Very little arrows don't come over a certain amount. So the easiest way I like to do it is slide it on the arrow, grab a silver Sharpie, because it shows up really good on black, mark the edge of it and pull it off, and that's how much your overhang is. You can see where the light edge is. Measure that looks like about a 1/2 inch, and so that's how much we have to add to the length of the arrow so this adapter doesn't hit the launcher when you're cutting them down. And every brand's probably a little different, so you got to check them all. Day 6 is, from what I understand, are relatively durable. Anytime you have a sleeve over and internal component inside of it, it's going to be more durable than just a flush piece. But what you make the component out of changes the durability a lot, which is why I make a lot of titanium hardware, because titanium is harder to bend and it's not super heavy. So now this goes over like really tight. Like I got to push that on, and then this one's kind of going to be a butt to get off. These are the Ultras. So if you ever get it stuck in there, just screw a field point into it, put it in the vise and go. So that's your overhang on this one. And if we compare these, so you can't just blindly go add a 1/2 inch and you're good. You have to actually measure each component. Well, there's about to be another number 2 open. So this new system that they're making, and we'll show you one of these, comes in multiple different materials. And this is a 2-piece sleeve. This part changes diameter, all right? So on this whole system, this little piece right here is the only thing that changes when you put it on a different arrow. And it's all based off of what arrow it's going on. These are all for 1/66 components. And then you can get the internal shank in different materials and the external collar in different materials. They make this in steel, aluminum, and titanium. And there's a whole combination of weights you can come up with on these. But this, along with this little indent right here, I can't put this all the way on the arrow because it's not the right diameter. It's a 4. That's a 2. Give me a 4. It might go on.
Let me see one for filming purposes.
There you go. This is a number 4 all aluminum. So the lightest one they make is a 55 grain. But we'll see if it'll slide over the arrow. It's probably too small, but we'll see what we come up with, since this is the arrow we're using. And that is so snug. And that does go on, even though the chart says it's not the right size. But that goes right on, and it's just like the Ultra where it goes on really snug. So the neat thing about this little rubber dealio here,
I'll show it on this table here as you put it in.
All right, it forces it to align when you're putting it on, right? So it's snug, like. No,
how much is going over?
Like it's probably the same. It's probably a 1/2 inch. We're going to mark it and measure it and see. But that, in my opinion, is probably the most durable adapter system made if it's made out of the right material. And that's what your overlap is, about a 1/4 inch, which is what my collars for my 5mm are, is about a 1/4 inch.
Let's look at
overlap.
those before we get to cutting.
All right, so some of the componentry that I make, this is a 4mm titanium. It doesn't collar over. It's the same diameter, right?
It's a good option.
And it's 50 grains, so it's about as light as you're gonna get in there. It does fit well. And in my 5mm stuff, which is what I use, because I like 5mm arrows more than 4mm arrows, largely because of componentry and Nock fitment and choices.
Nock fitment.
Nock
I like
fitment.
how you say that.
Yeah, how the nocks go inside the arrow, right? You start running into the small stuff, and you can run into some odd fitment. So that's your 30 grain titanium 5mm, and that's the 5mm collar that goes over the insert. And what that does is it goes down a 1/4 inch over the top of the arrow. So that in total weighs 45 grains.
So then you could go like 125 or 150.
If you want to go with a heavier field point or heavier broadhead, it's a way to maintain the same weight. It does go on the 50 grain as well. Same thing.
It does?
Yeah, it just collars over about that far. So it collars over a 1/4 inch for people who want a collar. You can take it on, take it off.
So you get a half out with a collar. That's pretty sweet.
And this makes it up to a 5/16. So when you're using a 5/16 field point, it's the same diameter. Without this, if you run it just like this, if you're trying to keep the weight down, this is a 17/64 or 5mm size. Same as the regular
That's
axis.
awesome.
When you're comparing arrow lengths, you have to go from whatever your string is going to touch your nock, right? Because that's going to be the consistent length. You can't go from a raw shaft.
So throw to the nock.
Because this might be different on different arrows. So you have to go throw to the nock. So I'll set throw to the nock base at 0. And look right there, and that is 25 and just over a half. Yeah, so these were probably cut with the other nock in them, and they were 25 and a half.
Yep.
I bet, right? So that's super close to that. So all we're gonna do is mimic that with these arrows, plus the difference of that. So this guy, your day 6, looks like it's got about 5/8 of overhang. So we need to take 25 and 5/8 plus 5/8. It's 26. Inverted 26 and a 1/4. That's the day 6. So we know how long we need to cut those. The ultras, right, from saddle, we're running, so that is just shy, that's like 3/8. Yeah, I'd say that's 3/8 overhang. So we're 25, 5/8 plus 3/8. So that's even 26 cut from the saddle, right? And then the X10 doesn't have a nock in it. So what nock are you gonna shoot out of this?
The Halo.
Okay, you can have a pack of green or a pack of blue, which you want.
Green.
I've got 30 each of those on order, be here next week. So
maybe support the guy who helps you guys with information.
just thought.
Huh?
So that is, you can see it's smaller, right? So we can weigh this if you want to get a weight on it.
Yeah, let's.
Where's the
shits and
scale
giggles. S&Gs.
Shits and gigs.
If it's under 20, I mean, I might lose my mind. Oh my
15.1. It's light. Like it's like, it's probably 9 grains heavier than a nock, or 8 grains heavier than a nock. It's light. So if you're gonna use a 4mm, that's hands down the right
Get
one
the
to
micro,
use.
right?
Get the micro. I gotta put it on a string. I don't jack it up. That's going in tight.
Give me 10 minutes and I'll give you a call back.
So that was the ultra. There were 25, 5/8 plus 1/4. So 25 and 7/8. We'll cut this one first because we're just cutting one. So we need to measure that out to be 25 and 7/8. So we no longer need this. We're now doing this from your saddle, 25 and 7/8. So that's the cut there for that one. The Ultra is 26 even. So we're gonna look at the saddle on the line to 26 even. That's the length on the Ultras. And the day 6 is 26 and a 1/4.
I'm recapping this for the layman. So we took my arrow here as we're going off these specs that I like, and then all Josh is doing is making sure we're cutting these new 4mm shafts, and then making sure we're counting for the overhang of each arrow's components. So you have to do a little bit of math, and I was impressed at Josh adding fractions that fast. Comment below if you could add fractions that fast.
We literally took the tape off of our saw, so you couldn't cut them wrong. So you had to measure it and stick it in here.
I love it.
So they're all different lengths, but to the back of where you need them at, they'll all end up being the same length.
Gangster. You have a girlfriend?
Let's go. Ain't nobody going in like me. I'm a mix of a man and beast. The way I stomp on a random beat. I got the drip and I plant the seed. But I'm working, expand my reach. I keep my cool like antifreeze. If they don't want to clap like an amputee, it's me against the world, guarantee. Like Tupac, I used to party in the street with a boombox. Kept a good tree stuck in my 2 socks and got stoned like I looked at Medusa. I'm a changed man, got my GED, put on my Ray-Bans and my Jesus piece. I hear hate chants from the cheapest seats while I shake hands. TBD. TBD.
So guys, this is the Arrow before I put vanes on it, essentially. So let's start with this Ultra. We have their aluminum
2-piece threadable insert. It screws together in the middle. It looks like a relatively decent system other than it's aluminum.
It's, before I have a fill point in broadhead, it's gonna be, should I add what I'm actually gonna use for a broadhead? So without vanes and broadhead, it's 327.
I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's like,
Ooh, day 6.
there's a percentage of people that want that, but the percentage of people that are wanting that's getting smaller and smaller, because the reality of it is if you want a heavier arrow, use a lighter GPI arrow, go to a stiffer spine and put more weight in the front.
It's a good formula. 359 for the day 6. Look at that GPI, 11.2. They took the title.
Oh, there's heavier, but out of all this stuff, like these are the popular arrows today for the most part, and that's why I threw some of these other ones up that we didn't include, just to give you an idea of what the actual GPIs are and why maybe some are being used.
X10 Parallel Pro with the 50.
It's 55.
55.
Yeah.
New component from Easton. I can't believe you had them.
Yeah, I
was
just got them
impressed.
2 days ago.
311. You could bump up to the 75 grain option,
Sure.
which would give you no aluminum.
The 75 is still an aluminum internal, and then like a steel collar, if I remember right.
What's the 100?
The 100 steel, if I remember right.
Talk to me.
That's a lot of weight, though.
Hey,
so if you're gonna,
I'll go 100 grain broadhead.
Okay, you can if you really want, but you had said you wanted the weight in the broadhead, not the insert.
Ideally,
so
but in this situation,
there may or may not be more options for this coming from them off that system soon, but not right now. That would probably fit that bill a little bit more, but that is yet to be determined.
Let me do some calculations. So let's just throw 125 because that's the broadhead I've been using the last few years. So what's that gonna weigh? 452. I'll let you do, Josh is a calculator.
Or hold on, 60, 84.
And then how about that?
311 with a 125 is 436. That's without fletching. So add another 20 to 30 grains.
And then
depends on what you want to use.
And this one includes a lighted knock.
Yeah, that one's got a lighted knock in it, which is 15 grains instead of like 6.
So I'll put me at 450.
Yeah, I mean that's part of why I like from here down.
So what do we got?
Personally. Just that if you're in this weight,
this is the Easton Axis long range.
You can build an arrow that has a good FOC that isn't stupid heavy. These are all 300 spine.
Holy crap!
This is winning the weight. One we didn't put down here is regular VAP, and it's like 8.7 too. So these are all relatively light. But if you follow the trend, these are all relatively new arrows. I mean that's new. These have been around for a long time. This one is new this year, but they're new to making arrows in general.
Yeah.
Right. So they only have a couple different options. This is new this year, but it's the revision of the Pro Tour or
Pro Comp.
Pro Comp. Sorry, not Pro Tour. That was a Target arrow. Pro Comp. So it's very similar. It's a different construction. It's slightly less expensive, but at a higher capacity, higher tolerance, they said. So it's supposedly a better arrow for less money. I want to say they're 250. If you look at the weights that we're seeing now, they're all getting lighter. All lighter. Like the Platinum Pierce was the arrow pre to this, and it's quite a bit heavier. VAP TKO's been around forever. They were only 9.5 to begin with, so they were already at what I call the heavy break threshold. I don't want to see an arrow in a 300 spine heavier than 9.5. I just don't.
That's fair.
You're going to have a really hard time making a decent
Let's go to the
FOC
fireplace and finish this conversation.
But
How the f you guys podcast in here?
Well, this has been going for a while. We start the fire and sit by it, so it's not been going for 2 hours.
All right, let's recap this video. This is
I'll dampen a little bit.
This is the
I was
podcast
trying
room.
to get flames going because we walked away from it.
So when it comes to arrows, I used Easton Axis till about 2020. It was the last year I used them, and then I completely went full send with RIP TKOs and went as light as I've ever gone. And then each year from 2021, 2022, I've gone down. It seems like last 2023, I was hunting with a RIP TKO that weighed 425 and killed everything with that arrow, minus one whitetail I use a Easton Axis long range, which was in our conversation.
Which is also 9.3. It's similar weight.
9.3 is similar.
It's 4.4 different.
So when it comes to the 4 millimeters, a lot of guys are just gonna not wanna do it. They don't wanna deal with it. I think you need to rethink that because I think I'm seeing some pretty cool components.
There's a lot of options, and they're finally really addressing the component problem. And whether it's certain aftermarket options existing and selling a lot of them, or it just simply being addressed to them a lot, they're aware of it, and they're aware that it needs to change. And when I first started making my componentry, I told you I've probably got 2 years. I've probably got 2 years where this will be popular because they're all changed. They'll all realize that people will pay extra for something that actually really works and doesn't fail. And they're really all starting to address it. And Easton's, in my opinion, is the nicest one I've seen, the new version, which I'm trying to remember what they call it, but it's multiple different sizes, multiple different configurations, multiple different two-piece system that
What's going to come with the X10? So I buy a dozen X10 shafts. What am I actually getting with
I don't think they come with them at all. I think you pick your component. And I'm excited to see this as it goes forward. My hope, and I was talking to Jason at Victory about this, is stop selling the component with the arrow, because people are buying different ones anyway. So if you want to be competitive, stop including the price of your component.
I hated the stuff that came with the RIP TKOs. What was
terrible. It's a TL two-piece.
It was why even include these?
But dude, most of what we just glued together are very similar things to that.
Yeah. True.
Right? And that's
true.
Because that's what they make that's cost effective, that tends to hold up okay. Like it doesn't break.
Yeah.
It doesn't break the end of the arrow. They see my component's bad, but my arrow's not cracked. So I can take the component off, throw it away.
Gun to your head.
Yep.
And I'm gonna do the same question myself. Build yourself a 4mm arrow from start to finish, and then go to a 5mm arrow right now.
Oh Jesus. Can you go first?
Yep. 5mm right now, I would go with a RIP TKO with your half out, that's 30 grains titanium. I would do a collar, maybe not. I did not use a collar at all.
It depends on the animal. Like I used that on antelope without the collar, but if I ran into elk, I would probably really.
Let's just say I throw the collar on, so I'm at 45 grains,
15 grains,
plus a 125. I'm going to be around 430 to 440. In the 4mm world right now, that X10 looked pretty sweet. I'm not going to lie. I have never tried the VAP TKOs. I need to, but I would say that Easton X10 with those new Easton components have my attention as well.
Yeah, and a lot of that, I want to say most of that's sold as a separate thing anyway. So, and that new Easton component is available in a size for every brand.
Oh, nice.
So you can use that on anybody's arrows. It doesn't have to be an Easton product, and that's the first time they really addressed that. They wanted to make sure it would go on anybody's arrow, so they made 5 different diameters of the internal size for the collar oversize. So they'll make one for everybody. You just need to figure out what your OD is that you're looking for, which that system is really, really cool. So gun to my head, I'd use RIP XB. I have a lot. Like I recommend RIP TKOs to people.
Those are my tack arrows.
Well, it's because I don't want people to break an arrow and be pissy that their arrow broke. I accept the fact that my arrow might break.
Fair.
And I'm not going to be upset about it because I know I'm pushing the envelope of speed so I can get the best FOC at the lightest weight. And I've proved it very well to myself like 2 years in a row now. Like I shot a buffalo
and a bull elk.
Full pass-throughs and a bull elk shooting a 3-blade mechanical broadhead with a 400 grain arrow at 70 pounds. The buffalo was 80, but I shot it was probably a 270, 280 bull, mature adult bull with a 401 grain arrow at 70 pounds, not excessive weight.
30-inch draw.
30-inch draw, 70 pounds, and full passer.
Yeah.
Like not hanging out the backside. Arrow kept going. I wouldn't shoot an X10, and I wouldn't shoot an X10, sorry guys, because I've had a really bad experience shooting aluminum carbon arrows. Like when I went to Reading, I bent 4 arrows, just pulling them out of targets. And that's the same arrow. I shot X10 Pro Comps. So because of that, I don't feel good about shooting something that can bend. The only way you can confidently use that arrow, in my opinion, is if you never shoot those arrows until you're shooting at an animal.
I think that's a good idea.
Completely different set of arrows, build everything uniform and concentric, and that's fine, but do not practice with them or shoot them one time.
I'd love to ask Bodie Turner, because he loves those arrows and he shoots more arrows than anyone I know.
Yeah,
see what his experience
the other
has been.
thing that is a reality of it, which he's also short, the shorter your arrow, the harder it is to bend.
Yeah.
Right? So you cut that thing down to 25 inches, it's way harder to bend than my 28 inch or 29 inch.
True story.
Right? So I wouldn't shoot that arrow. I would look really hard. I like the Axis long range. I really do. I think that's a good arrow in the line. It's very concentric. It's very consistent. It's not ridiculously expensive. It's a reasonable weight, but it's still a little on the heavy side. The X impacts are intriguing to me, but
they don't get enough love.
They don't. But honestly, the Victory VAP is 8.7, right? It's light. It's been made forever. It's consistent. It's not stupid expensive. And once again, I don't really care how durable it is. As long as it's reasonably durable, I'm not going to be mad if I shoot through an animal and then my arrow breaks after I go through them.
All right, well, here's how I'll finish this video. We will continue to do these types of videos all year long and confuse you, but we're just trying to give you all this information. But here's what you need to do at the end of the year, and we did it in this video. You go to Josh and you say, what did you actually shoot your elk with? And we just went through that arrow, and we did that with my arrow. So we'll recap what arrows we used this year on elk, and then next year, about September 1st, we promise to make videos being like, this is what I've decided on, so that you know, like, all this exploration has a reason behind it. We're trying to figure out what works best for us, and we encourage you to tinker, to figure out what's gonna give you the most confidence. So again, Josh killed his bull with a XV.
Yeah, it's
That's the GPI of what?
The whole arrow is 400 grains, and had a 30 grain titanium insert in it, 100 grain tip. They're
8 something.
They're low 8s or high 7s. They're
And
light.
that was a 300 or
It's
250?
it's the lightest 5mm arrow made, and it was a 300 spine.
It was a 300.
Yeah, I shot a 300 spine arrow. So I'm not going to sacrifice the spine.
No.
Like, I'm going to shoot a stiff enough arrow.
Yep.
And it's to try to prove my point. My point has been and always is the arrow weight doesn't matter. The type of broadhead that you're shooting through it matters, and adequately spine-tuned equipment matters. The physical weight is not very important. It's a small percentage of the equation, the broadhead being the largest percentage of the equation, which is why I have really particular rules on what broadheads I'll use and which ones I won't.
Awesome. Iron Will Bill, if you're watching, you're supposed to let me know when we can come down and test with your Phantom cameras. Levi Morgan, if you're watching, you're supposed to invite us to come down and test with your arrow. We just want to test, guys. Holler. Otherwise, Josh and I are going to take a small loan out and we'll get some Phantom cameras and do our own damn thing.
Yeah. You ever use that?
Yes.
Oh, God, that was a miracle.
Miracle.
Works better than the other one.
And I like hot tub in the mornings now.
Yeah, hot tub in the morning and the evening.
Oh, yeah. Tristan in the evening.
30 and 30. Get a cup of coffee. First thing in the morning,
Yeah, so
I come downstairs, pour a cup of coffee, go to the bathroom, walk out, get in the hot tub, in for 30 minutes. Answer some messages or emails or something. Or some mornings I'm just not awake enough yet to do it, so I just sit there.
I wish coffee was a good idea right now, but it's not.
Why isn't it?
Because I won't be able to fall asleep. All right.
Really? You got that problem?
I do.
I could probably drink it at 9 and go to bed.
Here we go, guys. This is the last part of the video that I just remembered. We're getting close to 100,000 subs, which is a pretty big deal. And I didn't get this far by myself. I've had help from guys like Tim. If you go way back, you'll see Josh without a mohawk, Jake, and all sorts of Clem. All sorts of people have helped us get here. It's not just me, but it's you guys. And so once we hit 100K, we're gonna do a giveaway. And the giveaway is I'm gonna buy you an airplane ticket. I'm gonna fly you into Spokane. I'm gonna pick you up and I'm gonna make you work out with me. And then we're gonna come down here and you're gonna pick out a bow. Would you build it?
Sure, yeah, I'll build it.
Let's make sure it's done proper.
Well, yeah, I don't mind. I'm happy to do it. Yeah,
Okay.
just pick out all your gear, go through the wall, decide everything that you want, and fit it to you, help you sight it in, and then go shoot the 3D course as a group.
We'll shoot the course.
Yeah.
I'll cover it, and it's just a way of saying thank you. So once we hit that 100K, we get that little trophy. We're still gonna stay on our grind. Even though it's just a number, it is good to stop every once in a while and smell the roses. So we wanna celebrate with you guys and we wanna hook somebody up. So be on the lookout, we're getting close to that, and I thought you guys should know what we're doing. Peace. And Josh's girlfriend's gonna be there.